Hey, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. My name's Johnny Lee. If you are new here, don't forget, hit subscribe, do all that good stuff. And if you're not new here and you're not subscribed, we probably need to have a fight, you know, because you need to be, help me out. All the shit's for free. Just hit the subscribe, you know, it's no harm. To be fair, it's a confusing channel because sometimes we do the motorbikes and sometimes we do, you know, music. So it's confusing. A lot of the time you don't know what you fucking subscribe to. But anyway, shall we crack on? Helix. 2 patches for you today. Both were used in a band rehearsal last week. One is kind of an ambient-y kind of thing, and the other one is Black Knight, Deep Purple. It's not a tone match. We'll get onto that in a minute, and I'll explain what's going on before you hear it. And I'll explain my thinking behind it and why I was trying to do what I was doing. So, get comfortable, take a deep breath. The Ventoir, Vaginar, however you want to call it, brainchild of Ben Adrian of Line 6. Absolute proper geek, love the guy to death. Very, very brilliant at what he does. So, no snapshots, none of that. It's just kind of a straightforward, here's your ambient patch. Auto swell at the beginning, then we've got a pitch echo. There's the amp. We've got the kinky boost in between the amp and cab, which is them dual cabs, the 212 Match G25 and the 1x12 Lead 80. Then there is a Trinity chorus, multi-pass delay, glitter reverb, retro reel because it just tidies some stuff up, tile, and then on the end of that, on the very end, is the studio comp. Because we've got a lot going on with delays and reverbs and, you know, modulation, it's just to kind of head it off and just, you know, make it behave a little bit. So, first of all, let me just show you what the pitch echo is doing on its own. And then I'll go down to the multi-pass and I'll show you what that's doing on its own. So when we team these two together, we get a really nice ambiente, which is French for ambient. Feel. So if I put the auto swell on and move to the neck pickup, it kind of gives us this. That kind of comes in handy if you've got maybe a Les Paul kind of set out and you're not really getting the violin in kind of thing. It's easy, obviously, on a Strat. You know, it's a lot easier to do because of the layout of the Strat, if you like. So, moving on. Black Knight. So let me explain what this is about. So it's a 3-piece just rehearsal, just a kind of, you know, functioning pop rock kind of band. Black Knight came up on the set list. There was no organ player. So what I've done is I've took the simple pitch. I've got a 45 mix on it. No sense, just a -12. And the reason for that is that the dirtiness of it, as it is pronounced where I'm from, it kind of gives that almost falseness, like there's another instrument going on. It kind of fills in the gaps of where the Hammond organ should be. So at the beginning there is the deluxe comp, then there is the simple pitch. There is 3 snapshots for this. So this is the main riff, and then the solo, if you watch the scale goes up to 12 for the solo, and then we have a no pitch, which is just, you know, normal guitar without any kind of shittery going on. Stupid overdrive into the PV Panama. Again, it's not a tone match. That is not what I was doing for it. So, and again, I say this a lot, is that a lot of the time people will go, I want a Richie Blackmore, or I want a Dave Gilmour, or I want a Stevie Ray Vaughan patch, or a John Mayer patch. And you get these patches and you can't play them because you don't play like the person that uses that rig. It's quite a bizarre thing that not a lot of people pay attention to. If I went to Richie Blackmore's rig, I would not sound like Richie Blackmore. If I went to Dave Gilmour's rig, I would not sound like Dave Gilmour. It's that simple. In between the PV and the cab, which is a bit of a shocker, is the Kinky Boost. Now the cab is a bit of a shock because it's the Hiwatt 100, which is one of the cleanest kind of sounding cabs anyway. But because it was a Blackmore early Black Knight kind of vibe, what I wanted it to sound was the amp was ripping the living shit out of the speakers, and that's what I did. And then there's a ping pong delay, doesn't need to be there, I just like it. Tile verb on the end, and down below again, just to give it that old kind of massive room sound. Drop the plate out the way onto the second path and just throw the mix all the way up to 100. Drop your decay down to 2 and just leave it, and it sounds nuts, absolutely nuts. Okay, so let's try and play this without getting slammed by the copyright people. So, all right, here we go. So the main kind of chorus, the main kind of versey riff, you'll understand why I've set this pitch control like this. So you get the idea. It's very harsh, it's very brash, it's really in your fucking face. So if we move to the second snapshot, it throws obviously the thing up to +12, which gives you that solo-y kind of sound. And as you can see, there's a shit ton of sustain there. Our final snapshot just gives us just the amp, the cab, and all the goodness without the shittery of the simple pitch. Don't know about you, but that sounds pretty huge. Yeah, I mean, yes, I was using an IR at first. Obviously, let me just show you what's going on here. So this is the same patch for me, and that is the IR that I use, just a 4x12 Recto V60 16007 from Own Hammer. I remember buying that like years and years and years ago. That's the one that I use live. And the closest thing to that IR is surprisingly the 412 Who What. I've got no idea why. They just pretty much sound, you know, really close to each other. So yeah, and again, you know, using that big powerful PV into that what is realistically, it's kind of a clean sounding cab. It just sounds like it's having its fucking bowels ripped out. So yeah, there you go. There is today's video for you. 2 free patches on Custom Tone. I appreciate you watching. Just come back for more, subscribe, leave a nice comment, let me know how it works out for you. And I'll see you soon for some more. Y'all take it easy now. Yeehaw!